The long rumored Nintendo Switch 4K OLED HC, whatever you want to call it, has finally been revealed. Hi, welcome to Zgadgetreview. It's been a long time since rumors started coming out about an upcoming Nintendo Switch, a revised version of the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo today dropped the reveal trailer for their upcoming Nintendo Switch OLED. Now, all the information on the upcoming Switch wasn't actually spilled on the leaks. We actually have a lot of information on the upcoming device that were actually or are actually a surprise. So let's go over what was announced. So on this trailer, it looks like the Nintendo Switch is going to officially be called the OLED model because of the OLED screen. So we have that as a check on the leaks. It looks like it's going to ship with the upcoming Metroid Dread game, partnering both the game with the upcoming Switch. The other thing that we know or that we knew already is that it was going to be bigger. So the screen is going to be 7 inches, which is a little bit bigger than the previous Switch, releasing a huge increase in size. It used to be 6.2 for the old Switch. It's going to be 7 inches on the new Switch. Of course, as we know, the OLED screen is supposed to save you battery power when you're playing games. So it may give you a little longer battery life on it. So as the rumor suggested, the screen is 720p, so it's an OLED screen, but it only does 720p. The one thing that the rumors, or the couple things that the rumors got wrong, was that it was going to be 4K output. It isn't going to do a 4K output to your TV. It's going to do 1080p only, so that's where it's going to top out. And it kind of makes sense. I mean, the games that the Nintendo Switch runs aren't 4K games, right? And so hopefully by having the 1080p capability, it'll make those games that run on the Switch look better, versus I know people used to complain that they look kind of fuzzy when they were enlarged on your TV. So maybe the 1080p resolution output will make it better, but I don't know. Now, the other thing that the new Nintendo Switch OLED isn't going to have is NVIDIA chipsets. So the other rumor was that it will have DLSS and an NVIDIA chip in it. It isn't going to do that. They did change the stand. They made it wider, so it takes pretty much a whole back of the screen, and you can position it whichever way you want, which should give you a more sturdy experience when you have your Switch propped on the stand. They also enhance the audio, or at least that's what they're saying. So I guess your games will sound better when you're using the speakers that come on the Nintendo Switch, so you don't have to rely on headphones. But I think it will be a bad person if you don't wear headphones when you're playing games, because the world doesn't necessarily want to listen to all the noise that's coming from your Switch. Just saying. The other big upgrade, if you want to call this a big upgrade, is that they have doubled the storage on the Switch. So instead of you having a 32 gig Switch, it's going to be an amazing 64 gigs. Nintendo. This little tiny part comes from The Verge. The Verge. Nintendo has confirmed to The Verge that there are no major internal changes to the CPU or memory. Nintendo Switch OLED model does not have a new CPU or more RAM from previous Nintendo Switch models, says a Nintendo spokesperson. The brand new Nintendo Switch OLED dock, if you can call it a brand new dock, is going to have an Ethernet port. So if you want to connect your Switch to the internet, you can hook a Ethernet wire to it, which you couldn't do before, I guess. So I don't know. The Nintendo Switch OLED will be available on October 8th and is going to retail for $350. Those are the facts. That's what we're getting, or what you're getting if you're going to buy one, because I'm not planning on buying one, so that's besides the point. But I feel that this isn't the upgrade that people were hoping for. Even me, looking just, from a tech perspective, from a gaming device perspective, I was expecting this to be a bigger upgrade. Of course, a Nintendo Switch next gen, or the next version of the Nintendo Switch, this wasn't going to be. There's no reason for Nintendo to bring into the market a brand new console a la PS5 and Nintendo Series X and S, because the Nintendo Switch is selling very, very well. And all they have to do, as I said in previous videos, is just refresh that tech in order to get people to buy into the device. People who haven't purchased a Nintendo Switch before, or people who have a Nintendo Switch that have had a Nintendo Switch for a few years now, they probably bought it when it first came out and all that, to want to buy the next version of the refresh in order to continue making money from the same people. Because your Joy-Cons, thankfully, are still going to work. So if you have an old Switch, right, that is beat up, that you've been using for the last 3-4 years, you can keep your Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons and use them on the new one and do multiplayer games with other people, since you're going to have technically 4 Joy-Cons. I am a little disappointed with what Nintendo came up with. I mean, the rumor said that it was going to be 720p, and it kind of makes sense because you cannot output better graphics out of this machine based on the architecture that it has. And now, though, it's confirmed that the internals haven't really changed. You're really getting more of the same, just a bump on colors are going to be better, contrast is going to be better, again, battery life is going to be better, but at the end of the day, you're getting the same thing. So is it worth buying the Nintendo Switch, a new Nintendo Switch? In my opinion, no. If you have a Nintendo Switch that works, that you use and you don't have any issues with, I don't see the point of buying this. It's not, like back when the PS4 Pro came out and the Xbox One X came out, you could argue that there was a reason to buy that refresh version of the consoles. One, it offered 4K, which the other consoles didn't. Games were supposed to run better, faster and better. So you had a little bit of an incentive to switch and to spend the money on the newer console. On this, I don't think it's worth it to pay $350. Unless you've been waiting for a Switch and you can find anywhere, and I guess this is going to be your only choice when October 8th rolls around and they're available for sale. Of course, I expect them to sell out because there are Nintendo Switches and people are out there looking for them. So I'm pretty sure the new Nintendo Switch OLED model, as it's being called, will sell out on day one. And Nintendo will celebrate another success in the long history of Nintendo. What do you think about the new Nintendo OLED? Are you disappointed with what we are finally getting, or were you expecting this? Let me know in the comment section. That's it for me. Go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Go ahead and hit that bell so you can be alerted every time we have new videos. And thank you very much for watching.